Back here on SportsLine talking about the Titans who are underway in training camp. First practice was Saturday, first practice in pads today. Defense got the better of that, but there have been sparks on both sides of the ball. And as we talked about before, just a different feel and a different looking roster for the Titans so far this year. One of those positions, wide receiver, where of course Eric Decker was brought in at the end of minicamp. He is a really good, versatile receiver. Precision routes, perfect for this team. He fits in, gives them a great option, likely to play in the slot at times. Corey Davis, Rashard Matthews. You know, Matthews was the #1 for this team last year. He will be the #1 for this team going into this season. Corey Davis was drafted, of course, as a #1 guy with the 5th overall pick. You put those guys together, you got a pretty good start. Taywan Taylor, 3rd-round pick, flashed a lot today. You've got Harry Douglas, who's a veteran, who has the respect in the locker room and will do things the right way at all times. Tajay Sharp, who showed flashes last year as a rookie. Can he stay out of trouble? Can he get back into good graces with the coaching staff and with John Robinson during this training camp? We'll find out. Eric Weems brought in as well. He's known more as a returner, but he obviously is in that room. Trey McBride as well. Jonathan Krause, former guy at Vanderbilt. There are a lot of pieces there in that room. And John Burton last night joined me on the Electric Power Company Sunday Sports Central, and we looked at that room and answered some of the questions. When Corey Davis arrived on Saturday after his brief holdout, the #5 overall pick, makes it a very, very crowded room with only likely to see 5 receivers kept, maybe 6 receivers kept on the final 53-man roster. It means competition will be heavy. And John and I discussed that on the Electric Power Company's Sunday Sports Central. John, you and I commented to one another on Saturday that it was surprising that John Robinson wasn't able to sign Corey Davis before training camp began. And literally about 30 seconds later, our phones buzzed that a deal was done. And I think it's huge for both Davis and the Titans to avoid that distraction.
Oh, there's no question about it. When you're a young receiver expected to play a lot, maybe even start, as Corey Davis could be projected to be, you got to get into camp. You got to get your timing down with your quarterback, Marcus Mariota. You got to learn the offense. You got to learn what to do against certain coverages. It was paramount that Corey Davis not miss a whole lot of time in camp, and thankfully for the Titans, he's signed and sealed and ready to go.
Wide receiver figures to be the most hotly contested position group in camp with 12 guys now. With Davis, Decker, you got Rashard Matthews back from last year. You know that. Taywan Taylor in the 3rd round. It appears that the Titans have certainly upgraded their pass catchers. So what are you watching out for the most here in camp?
Quite a list, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think I want to see what a lot of Titans coaches have wanted to see over the last several years. Guys fighting for the ball while it's in the air. You know as well as I do, in the National Football League, if you draw single coverage, guess what? You're open. Quarterbacks are going to throw the ball up. You're going to be expected to fight for that ball and come down with it, make huge plays in the passing game. That's what I want to see out of this group this summer and this season.
My question is, do they keep 5 or 6 out of those 12? Either way, it figures to have more pass catchers and more versatility with that group, something that Marcus Mariota will certainly love. He is back healthy and ready to go full out in training camp just 7 months after fracturing his fibula in Jacksonville. The Titans will take every precaution with their franchise QB in the preseason, but back to 100%, Mariota's eager to put the injury behind him.
This is kind of where you want to get, is to this point. The process getting here is tough, but now that I'm here, it's kind of nice to enjoy it and to be able out there with the guys again.
He's one tough cookie, so it didn't surprise me that he was going to be a full go today and looking as good as he do. He is the leader of this team, and he goes out and he plays that way.
Absolutely great to see number 8 back there on the field, and he's got more weapons. Delanie Walker, one of them, the Pro Bowl tight end that you just heard there. Jonnu Smith, drafted in the 3rd round to back him up at tight end, and all those wide receivers we talked about. Going to be very interesting to see how that shakes out in training camp, and also where Mariota favors to throw the ball. I mean, Delanie Walker was his only real favorite target 2 years ago. Obviously, last year, Rashard Matthews really exploded onto the scene. Tajay Sharp made some plays at times. There were more spots for him to throw the ball a year ago. That's even more so this year. Does he have favorite targets? Is it simply just get the ball to the guy that's open? That's how the offense is designed and the way it wants to be, but obviously you tend to go to guys you trust. And the past couple of years, you haven't been able to trust that many guys to catch the ball from Marcus Mariota. Now I think you can, and how much will that change this offense will be interesting to watch. Another thing that will be very fascinating with this year's Titans team is so much is expected. A lot of people believe they are the team to beat in the AFC South. Well, guess what? If you want to win the AFC South, the Titans need to start doing better against AFC South competition. It has been a long time since they favored well within the division. 11 straight losses against the Colts. They snapped a long losing streak against the Texans in the final game last year. It's been, I think 2009 was the last time they did not split a season series with the Jaguars. I mean, think about it. The lowly Jaguars. Now, I know you're sitting at home saying the Titans weren't that much better for most of those years, and that's true. But you're talking about a team in the Jags that has been really one of the worst teams in the NFL for a while. And the Titans have been poor enough and inconsistent enough in this division that they have not even been able to take advantage of that. If the Titans are going to live up to the expectations and if they're going to win the AFC South, they have to beat up on Jacksonville. They have to figure out a way to beat the Colts at least once. And they're going to have to beat the Texans. They're going to have to go 4-2 or better within the division this year. Because think about last year. Titans ended up 9-7. Same record as the Texans. Split meetings with the Texans by winning that Week 17 game here in Nashville. Houston goes to the playoffs. The Titans do not. Why? Because Houston went 5-1 in the division. Their only loss came to the Titans on the final game of the year. Outside of the division, Houston was 4-6. How about the Titans? With that win in the final game of the season, they went 2-4 in the division. Outside of the division, the Titans against pretty good teams. They played Oakland. They played Minnesota. They played Green Bay, Kansas City, Denver. Outside of the division, the Titans went 7-3 last year. But inside the division, just 2-4. So the Texans win the division based off of that division record. Titans have to solve that. If you're going to win the division, you're going to have to beat up on your division teams. You cannot just do it against everybody else. So, last night on the Electric Power Company Sunday Sports Central, John and I looked at the AFC South position by position. Who has the best position groups in the division? I'll tell you this much. The Titans climbing up the ladder there. Take a watch. Okay, John, we all know if the Titans are going to do what many people hope this year, and that is win the AFC South, they're going to have to do better within the division. Just a 2-4 record last year, a big reason why they did not make the playoffs. So let's look at position rankings, team by team. Right. Who's got the best quarterback situation in the AFC South?
Well, I got to go with Indy because Andrew Luck, assuming he gets healthy and gets that shoulder up and running again, he leads that crew.
I was tempted to go with Marcus Mariota because of Luck's shoulder problems, but Mariota, of course, is coming off his own injury as well. So until the Titans beat Luck and the Colts, Luck reigns supreme. What about running back?
I got to go with the Jaguars. Leonard Fournette is going to be a stud.
He may be, but he's not better than DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry in that 1-2 punch. I like the Titans as the best running back group. Wide receiver.
Well, I got to go with the Jaguars. They've got the best combination of wide receivers and tight ends, but the question is, can they get a quarterback to get them the ball? Blake Bortles, big question mark.
I may be bullish on the Titans here, but I really like what they've done with that wide receiver group we talked about earlier, and then you throw in Pro Bowl tight end Delaney Walker. To me, that's the best group. And what about the offensive line? We're in agreement here. Titans are easily the best, right?
We are both in unison here. The Titans by far have the best offensive line, maybe the second best offensive line in all of football.
All right, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. What about the defensive line? You like them there as well?
Yeah, I do. I like the entire Titans front seven, but that D-line led by our man Casey, he's got his money now. He's ready to roll.
I don't care that he was hurt last year. I cannot believe you did not take the Texans and J.J. Watt there. You've got Whitney Merciless out there as well. I like the Texans.
Linebacker, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans again. I think they're 4 across the board. Do a nice job in Dick LeBeau's scheme.
I'm sticking with the Texans. Best front seven defensively, maybe in all of football. I like them at that group. And what about the secondary?
I go with the Houston Texans. I think they got a great group back there. They got some ball hawks, some guys that can really make plays.
I like the Jaguars. They got A.J. Boye from the Texans last year to go with our buddy Jalen Ramsey from here in the Mid-State, and Barry Church addition in the secondary. I really like what the Jags have in their secondary. It'll be interesting to see. Clearly, the Titans have made upgrades when it comes to position battles within the AFC South. John Robinson deserves so much credit for what he has done in boosting this roster here in Tennessee to put them in a position that, we're arguing the Titans to be the best team in the division in a lot of those categories. I mean, you could make an argument that Marcus Mariota is right there in the mix with Andrew Luck right now. You can make strong arguments that this team has the best running back, wide receiver, tight end, and offensive line groups. John's trying to argue that they've got quality defensive line and linebackers to match up with the Texans in this argument. The only place that I don't think you can really even make an argument right now is in the secondary based off of past performance, but they're drastically improved there, and I think you can see that just in 3 days of training camp. Much improved roster, which is why so many people have expectations for this team. Phone lines are open still, 737-7767. We've got lines open if you'd like to get in on the program. When we come back, we'll hear from Mike Mularkey, his thoughts on the Titans' first day in pads. That's next, right here on SportsLine on News Channel 5+.